Hello friends, I'm live. Let's just see if my connection is good. Hello my friends, welcome day 2 to my little live series all around rethinking our midweek drink habits. Hey, I'm Laurie if we haven't met before. Nice to have you here. I am a trauma-informed certified life coach and stop over drinking coach, breathwork facilitator, and a former midweek drinker, a former rum and coke drinker, wine drinker, beer drinker. If you are here tonight, if you are watching this replay, then let's see if you're a woman who is kicking goals or wants to kick some goals, but you just find yourself reaching for that glass just maybe a few times more than you'd like to a week, and I'm going to put inverted commas here, because you deserve it. That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. Laurie is here with her nice little fizzy. It's a Saturday night here. I've got my Mount Franklin raspberry. This is about as exciting as my Saturday night's going to be tonight. My husband's out riding, and it's just me and Millie and the cat and the 2 dogs. So I'm on all the chore duties tonight. I've got to feed the hungry hippos in a minute, so we'll get this done. We'll give you some goodness, and we'll give the dogs some goodness as well, shall we? All right, so let's talk about that classic thought that probably most people don't even recognize that they're having. It is the thought that kind of sneaks in around anywhere from about 3 to 6 p.m. And it's that thought, I deserve this. You've had a big day, you've worked really hard, you've juggled a million things, you might have even achieved some amazing things, or it might have been a crap day. And your brain is telling you, and funnily enough, it's actually wired for this. It is wired for pleasure, right? So it is saying to you, let's reward all of that with a glass of wine or whatever your drink of choice is. I noticed this last year. So last year I organised a work event, and we'd been going at it pretty hard for the day, and it was a setup where there was lifting and you had to get your head around how to set it up, it was basically an ag show or a trade show. And if you don't have agriculture in your neck of the woods, an indoor trade show. And I had not drunk for almost 2 years. 2 years, right? And I noticed when I got home, I was driving home and I was thinking to myself, man, I could totally kill a nice cold Corona and lime. That would go down a treat. And I was just listening to my brain going, what the hell? I haven't had a drink for 2 years. What is up with that? Our brain goes back to what is familiar. So that's what was happening for me. It was a familiar reward that I gave myself. Was after a big day, after you felt like you'd worked really hard, is that the first thing you'd think about, I'd attach those 2 things together, pleasure and hard work, as rewarding myself with some alcohol. And let's be real, you totally deserve something after a big day, right? After some type of big win, after sometimes when you get shit news, you do deserve something. You deserve care. You deserve ease, you deserve restoration, but we have been conditioned to associate reward with alcohol. And if you've watched one of my other lives or my other Instagram stories before, is that there's a scientist, or I think it was a psychologist, I'm pretty sure he was a scientist, Ivan Pavlov, trained some dogs with a bell. They would associate food time. They would learn to drool and salivate on the sound of a bell because he'd actually trained them. Now, this is the same thing with our brains, is that we've just trained it over and over and over again, that it is quick, It is something that our brain just knows is familiar. It is normalized. We have done it so many times, and it gives us a short hit of dopamine. Our brain is wired for pleasure, my friends. My truth bomb tonight is, if your only form of celebration or stress relief is alcohol, it is not a reward. It has become a cycle. Oof. I know, I love you, but I do have to give you that news. You've been using it as a reward, but it's actually a cycle. Now, the real reward, most women that I work with aren't actually craving the drink. They're craving a change of state. The reward is feeling acknowledged. They want to be recognised for what they've done. The reward is feeling at peace. They want to not feel like they're vibrating all day, like this state of chaos. Or they just want to have something for themselves. Now, if you go back to my story in this ag show, the real reward that my body was looking for was actually rest. After that day, I was absolutely exhausted. I was so tired. And the more I recognised that, the more tired I actually got, the more slap happy my habits became. And I've also had the same result. I've still got it. I still do this with my relationship with food. Is I'll come home from work, whether I've had a good day, a bad day, an amazing day, and the first thing my brain searches for, right, is it walks in the door like a hungry teenager, like one of your kids that walks in at 3 p.m. They're like, what's up? What's for food? I'm starving. Is that the brain is looking for comfort. It is looking for chips. It is looking for snacks. It is looking for something sugary. It is looking for alcohol. Like, think about if you've recognised that in your kids before. We are just doing the exact same thing, the exact same pattern, the exact same cycle with alcohol. And we've learnt it, right? We learnt it as kids. Come in the door, mum makes us a snack, we get the snack, we feel better, we play, or we come home, we play PlayStation, or we, so whatever that reward looks like, whatever we've associated to from our childhood, it's almost like we've lifted that and we've just plonked that same behaviour pattern into our adult lives. So the problem though is with this type of reward, it comes with a cost, or like with any reward, right? For alcohol, the sleep disruption, I certainly know as you get a little bit older, it gets worse. Trixie. Now you know it's live. Dog's outside barking her head off. Is that it comes with sleep disruption. If we're over drinking and waking up the next day and we can't remember, or we're feeling dusty, or we're really pushing through, then it's actually coming with some shame, maybe some guilt, and kind of that mental loop of, why the hell did I do that again? Or how did I end up here again? I know that was probably the phrase I heard myself say over and over again, especially when I started recognising my patterns of behaviour. The first time I really, really questioned it was when I was 32 and my second marriage had come to an end, and I remember just lying there thinking to myself, how did I end up here? I'm a smart woman. How did I end up here? And it's exactly the same behaviour of pattern. It is learned, and we've just done it over and over again. So this, because I could just talk all night about the subject, obviously I've got another 16 days to go, so I'm not going to keep these too long. So the method that I introduced last night to kind of slow down your brain and just notice the urge is called the pause, feel and connect method. So 3 parts to it. And I introduced it to you last night. I'm still going to use it for tonight. I'm going to start introducing a couple of other little modalities from tomorrow night. But I just wanted to really lean into this first part because it's super, super important. that you pause, that we just put some space in between a reaction or making that next decision. So if we can give ourselves like 60 seconds before autopilot takes over, we've just created an awareness gap. And when we create awareness, that's where the real change starts to come in. So if we can recognize or just pause, then we can slow down long enough to recognize or just check in. Am I tired? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling under-celebrated? Once we kind of name that emotion and just recognize it for what it is, and sometimes in the beginning, I remember my emotional vocabulary was very, very small. Basically, I knew like 6 buckets, and I actually think really it was about 3. I was mad, I was tired, I was angry, or I was sad. Well, there you go. It's actually 3. Angry and mad are the same thing. But if you can recognize even just those 3, if you could put them into just the basic buckets, until you can grow your capacity for, what your emotional state is, and learning what your emotions are and learning to process them, etc., is just to start with those basic ones. Am I tired? Am I overwhelmed? Am I underwhelmed? Am I under-celebrating myself? Those types of things. And then once you get to that point, then is to turn inward, all right? And rather than looking outside of ourselves, to actually reward ourselves. How can we reward ourselves? By just slowing that down and connecting to ourselves and asking, what is one way that I could meet that need tonight? So what is one way? How can I delay this gratification, this instant gratification of pleasure, for tomorrow? Because if I wake up without the hangover, without the dustiness, without the regret, without the shame, without the guilt, without the empty pocket, without paying for it tomorrow, what is something I could do now to meet my need of feeling tired, of feeling needing rest, of feeling overwhelmed, of not celebrating myself? And just really come back to you, come home, right? Come home to you and think about ways in which you could do that. Now, the great thing with this is that I've actually created some simple swaps that you can do. So if you want that, make sure you DM me, reach out. Some ideas simply is to just, have a bath, listen to a podcast, listen to, I quite often listen to, on my phone is just a frequency, 888 HZ frequency on Spotify. Sometimes I need to go for a walk without my earphones in, just listening to the beach, the waves, the trees, the cars go past. Sometimes it could be worthwhile just ringing a friend, someone you know who's always got a good laugh for you, or has got a really great shoulder to lean on, to talk to listen to soundboard, and simply go for a walk outside. Just changing up that rhythm and that pattern that you've got yourself into. It just takes one step at a time to actually just change our habits and learn to kind of restack them differently. I'm not going to go into that because there's a whole section on restacking and habit building and things like that, and that this is not the forum for that. Simply what I want to do is I just want to give you some other tools to think about before you go launching into your midweek drink, or for tonight, maybe you don't need a big night out, maybe you need a big night in with yourself, with your sparkling water, with your life coach. Maybe that's what you need instead. So just really honour there's another part of you, honour what she's trying to tell you. Okay. So yes, you do deserve something better, my friend. Let's just make sure that it is something that gives your body, your soul, your mind, something that really gives back to yourself and doesn't rob you of tomorrow, okay? I've also got a 5-day free challenge coming up in a couple of weeks on the 18th of May, I think it is. You can sign up, links in the bio, and there's also a free download called Sober and Satisfied that you can grab your hands. That's just got 5 simple midweek swaps that you can start using now. So yes, drop me an emoji, drop me some love, drop me a hello, and I'd be happy to let you know all the things. So my friends, I hope you're having an amazing weekend. I will be back with you tomorrow night. What are we doing tomorrow night? I don't have the schedule here. But anywho, I shall see you then.